Hi there, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today and that you're ready to learn together. My name is Krista Barth. I am a professional special needs advocate, and I will be delivering to you some strategies that you can use at your next IEP meeting. I have a combined 15 years of experience in special education, and it is my pleasure to be able to deliver to you today some of the advantages of my experience that you can take with you and use at your next meeting. As you prepare and you're getting ready for your IEP meeting, you might be getting advice from many different sources. It's important for you to be able to judge a credible source. While social media is a wonderful outlet of support for so many people and parents, people that are posting on social media and commenting on your posts might not always be the most credible source when it comes to taking IEP advice from. Even professionals that you're working with, like your ABA therapist or a speech language therapist or an occupational therapist, those are individuals that oftentimes have targeted skill sets that are of great asset and great importance for preparing for your meeting, but they're not necessarily overall IEP experts. Same as parents that have gone through their own road of parent advocacy at an IEP meeting for their own child. They have a unique set of experiences that are specific to their child. It might not match up with what you need to do in your case. Well-intentioned educators, special educators, they might be confined by the limitations of the school that they teach at and how things are done at that school. So it's important that you're careful in who you're getting your advice from. Well-intentioned but poor advice can lead you down a road of hardship, and I know some of you have experienced that already. The person that you get advice from should have two levels of knowledge. One, they should have knowledge about how to teach a child with the disabilities that your child has effectively. Two, they should have knowledge about the laws that regulate special education federally and in your state and your district. And three, they should have experience. And with experience comes refined strategy. So experience must go beyond attending a few IEP meetings for either their children or for clients. It needs to go into representing clients in a variety of different cases, in a variety of different contexts. And if you're getting advice from an IEP expert like that, then you're gonna be in good shape. In order to be an effective advocate for your child or for any child, you first need to understand what your child is entitled to within the public school system. Your child, under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDA, is entitled to meaningful educational benefit and a free, appropriate public education. What this means is that your child is entitled to receive education that leads to meaningful educational benefit. The IEP is made up of 5 major parts or domains. Those 5 domains are entitled curriculum and instruction, that's where we talk about the academics, social and emotional, independent functioning, healthcare, and communication. Within each one of the 5 domains, we begin with the present levels of performance. The present levels of performance are where the team, including you, the parent, describes using multiple measures, formal and informal, the strengths, the weaknesses, the deficits, in very specific and measurable terms of the student. It is so important that the present levels of performance are rich and meaningful and that diversified measures are being used, because the present levels of performance dictate the rest of the IEP, including the goals, including the accommodations and modifications and assistive technology, and also the services and placement. So I want you to do a few things before your next IEP meeting. First and foremost, I want you to make sure that you have received the prior written notice letter. This letter is important because it lets you know who will be attending your meeting and the exact purpose of your meeting. I can't tell you how many times that I work with a client that thinks that we're going to a eligibility meeting or an IEP meeting or simply a review meeting, and the meeting was something completely different. Having the purpose of the meeting in the forefront of your mind and knowing definitively what we're meeting for is very important. I also will encourage you to prepare your parent input statement in advance of the meeting. It really can be a lot to go to an IEP meeting and to be asked to speak on behalf of your child right on the spot. The parent input section is not just you listing off your child's likes and dislikes, strengths and weaknesses. It really is much more than that. You can include requests that you're making of the school district or the school. You can include concerns that you have, specific goals that you have for your child. You can really just let this be your chance to let it all out and to document your voice in the legal document of the IEP. While you're preparing for an effective IEP meeting, it would also suit you to have access to the draft IEP if the team has drafted an IEP. I'll always ask, once we have a scheduled IEP meeting on the calendar, if the team can provide me with a copy of a draft if they haven't created a draft. This gives me the same advantage of the rest of the team members in being able to view what the team's proposing prior to on the day of. In addition to requesting the draft IEP, if in fact the team has created a draft, I would also like for you to request that the team provide you with the data that will be reviewed at your next meeting. This gives you an additional advantage. You'll know how your child's performing in different areas in the same way as the team does. And you'll have time to digest that information before you walk into a meeting and are expected to meaningfully participate. Lastly, before you attend your next IEP meeting, I don't want you to enter the meeting wishy-washy this time. I want you to have very clear goals in mind of what you're trying to accomplish at this meeting in no uncertain terms. This will give the meeting a sense of focus and will give you a sense of focus in how you contribute at the meeting. So now let's fast forward to the day of your IEP meeting. Many parents ask me, well, how should I act at the meeting? What should I wear? How should I behave? I want you to behave as if it's personal, because it's very personal. This is your child, but also in a professional manner, almost pretending as if you're attending the meeting as a paid advocate. Please remember, this is very personal. This is your child, but much of what you might disagree with when it comes to the IEP school team is not personal. It's helpful and it's effective to make a connection with the team members, even in times of disagreement. It's okay to say, yes, we all care about this child. Yes, it matters to all of us that he or she continue to progress and that he or she is successful. We simply have different ideas or different ways of how we're gonna get him to that point. I don't think that the majority of teachers or school team members are waking up in the morning and planning their day out saying, I don't want to deliver an appropriate education to this child. They just might not know how to. They might not have the skills or the training to. They might not know who to contact within their district to ask for training or to ask for resources. It's very personal, but often it's not personal. In an IEP meeting, you're never going to hear me yelling or raising my voice or getting indignant with staff. If we really reach a point where we have to agree to disagree, I'll say to the team, it seems to me that we've reached an impasse. Could you please provide my client with a notice of refusal or a notice of proposal? And that's a document, a prior written notice document of what the school district considered that they're refusing or what was proposed and why it was rejected. When you enter your IEP meeting, I want you to have in mind that you need to enter as an active listener. If you are dominating conversation in the IEP meeting, you're not listening. There's important information that team members are going to share with you, some of which might in fact support your goals and what you're trying to get done for your child. When I enter an IEP team meeting, now, sometimes I need to interrupt because things are just simply being done procedurally wrong and I can't sit there and let it happen. But as much as I can, I practice active listening. I listen to each team member's contribution about the child. And again, you would be surprised how often that information that those team members are sharing actually supports what you're trying to get done and is not in conflict with your goals. Instead of making grand statements or accusations at your meeting, ask clarifying questions, such as, "You've said that my son has difficulty with phonics. Can you be specific with me as to what areas of phonics he's having difficulty with?" Or, Are you saying that the district is not able to provide my son's services during distance learning? You would be surprised at some of the answers that you receive that help drive you further towards what you're trying to get done. You know your child better than anyone else in the IEP team, and much more personally and intimately. That's why one of the most important roles that you can have as a parent advocate is bringing the IEP team back to the center and the central message of why we're meeting, which is to service a child that needs additional help. Bring in those comments that your child makes about the service providers and about his experience in school, things that he or she has shared with you. Bring in his likes and dislikes that he might not have had the chance to share with his teachers at school. Make the meeting and help facilitate the meeting to be student-centered. I hope for you that when you attend your next IEP meeting, that you get all of your goals met that you set out to meet for your child prior to the meeting. Remember, having all those goals organized and knowing where you're going, creating a focused meeting will help you to be more successful, practicing active listening and asking questions for clarification. Even when you implement expert IEP team meeting strategies at your next IEP meeting, there's always the chance that yet and still you and the team will disagree on key components of the IEP. You have rights as the parent of a child with a disability. You don't have to just walk away and take the IEP and be done with it. While the team doesn't need your signature to finalize the IEP, unless it's an initial IEP and consent for initial provision of services, you still have several ways that you can resolve conflicts. You can write compelling letters to the school district and see if another meeting can be convened with district staff and the IEP could be amended. You can request a mediation hearing, and you can also file a due process complaint. While I know that being in conflict with your child's school is not something to be excited about, I also want you to think about the fact that you do have these rights to disagree, and that is a good thing. Assuming that you had a successful meeting and all of your goals were met, you might be wondering, okay, now what? How do I make sure that the school actually is implementing the IEP? I'm not there. How do I know that my child is making continued progress? I'm not in school, I'm not an educator. What I always advise parents to do is to request regular data to be shared with you using multiple measures. So if your school does school-wide data collection, either through a computerized program or a reading or math intervention program, request to look at that data on a monthly basis. Don't wait until mid-year or end of year to see how your child is doing. You can also request the data that's been collected towards your child's measurable goals on a regular basis. And of course, you can informally check in with teachers. These regular check-ins and sharing of data will ensure that we're on top of what's happening and that we're not just waiting until the next annual meeting to see how things are going. If you would like to learn more with me, I am offering an 8-part course that will take you through 8 of the most important topics in special education that has taken me almost 15 years to master, and I want to deliver them to you with all my experience and all my successes in IEP meetings. Now, I would love to learn more together, and that's why I've created this comprehensive 8-course webinar series I know that you're gonna get great benefit from it, whether you're a parent or whether you're another service provider that's eager to service children and to be more effective in IEP meetings. Now, if you're ready to grow and you're ready to learn more, you can register right now below for our 8-part series, Parent IEP University. Thank you so much, and I hope I've helped you.